some of the local high schools in the community to come out and do a social clinic for us, parent clinic to kind of teach us new drills, things that you look for in high school, etc. like that. At this time, I'm turning it over to Chris Raffin, let him explain what we're doing and go from there.
Hello everyone, I'm Chris Raffin. The coaches we have here today is Sean Biederman. I've coached a long time with Sean. We started coaching Legion baseball together. He gave me my first job for coaching baseball at Driscoll Catholic High School. He went to Lincoln Way Central, he's now at Aurora Central Catholic. He's got over 350 high school victories, probably a little higher. He's going to be talking today about hitting and fielding. We have Vic Wisner, Willowbrook High School. Sean and I met Vic when we were actually first officiating football. He was, we were a bad officiating staff. And he was there. And throughout the years, I coached against Vic when I was at York and Lombard West. The biggest compliment I could give him as a coach, his teams were always prepared, and you knew you were being for a battle to play for him, no matter what talent he had. In my opinion, you guys are very lucky to have him representing your kids when your kids get to high school. One of my longtime friends, Phil Bodine, his wife got sick yesterday and she had to be transported down south for emergency surgery. He can't be here today. He will have a makeup. It's just a bad situation for him. I feel a little uncomfortable taking over some of the pitching stuff, but I learned under him and the clinic must go on. So Vic will be doing catching, and we're very lucky to have a catcher because a lot of people know baseball, but teaching someone how to catch, like behind the plate, I don't know anything about it. You know anything about it? Really?
Just think you better be really good back there.
Right. We know when it looks bad. So without further ado, I'm going to start off with some throwing, and then we're going to morph into a little bit of pitching. Then I'm going to hand it over to Vic for catching, and I'll hand it over to Sean for some hitting and some fielding. And then we'll talk quickly, these guys will talk quickly about practice plans and everything like that. And then any questions you have, we're going to have a time where you can ask them questions. Because I've been to a lot of clinics where the speakers just speak, and then they leave, and you might have some questions. So please, at the end, if you have any questions, ask away. For any of you who know me, it's a big deal that I'm wearing shoes right now. It really is. It is.
Did you buy those today?
Mike gave me to me. I don't know, a pair of shoes. We're going to start off with throwing. Progression of throwing. We want to try to take the feet out, in my opinion, when you first start to throw. The feet is actually what screws a lot of kids up. So when one of the first drills that we do, and was taught to me by Phil and everything like that, and really explained to me why he does this every single practice that Phil ever had, was to take the lower half out. So the one knee drill, now I'm a lefty, so you guys got to flip it around for righties, but you got a knee down, there's a wall, or your partner, depending on what age level you are. This knee is in 90s, and you're turning your shoulder right to either the person you're throwing to or the wall, and you're breaking in 90s right here. 90s is where you're your strongest. 90s is where you're most fluid. And then you start your throw, not with your arm, with your core. With your core. And this will all make sense when we go into some pitching and everything like that. So you're right here, either with a wall or your partner in front of you. Your core starts you, and you finish. And where do you want to finish, young man? You probably done it. Through. That's important too when we get to finish through, because we're teaching, get this part out of here, we're teaching how your body needs to react from here to here. Then the progression is stand up. Stand up. Feet shoulder width apart. Still here, breaking, still with the core and coming through. Right here, break, coming through. And always hit your, now it'll be my left arm through my right leg. For you righties, your right arm through your left leg. Then the progression is, in my opinion, is have the kids, and you guys can all do these drills at home with socks against a wall. I mean, you don't have to have a baseball or anything like that. In my opinion, it's now we're starting to incorporate the legs. Now we want them to break here. Break here. So the easiest way that I was ever taught about how to get some kids from stopping to push the ball, stopping this, is when you break, your thumbs break down, almost like you're booing. Naturally, your elbows and everything are going to be in a certain slot. They might not be perfect, but if you're just breaking down like this, you have almost everything that we are trying to accomplish without setting you up in this position first to do it. So just, you can even go 1, 2, and then on 3, they just break, step, and throw. And it really is important for them to finish through. Now I have some notes. Now we get to playing catch. Playing catch at the various levels from T-ball to there. This is where their feet screw them up. This is where it happens. Because we've all had the kid that shoulder never gets to coach. It never gets to coach, and he throws, and you keep telling him, get your arm up, get your arm up, get your arm up. It's because of his feet. If the arch of his foot is pointed to who he's throwing to, his shoulders have to follow. It has to. So if I'm throwing, I forgot your name, young man, Marshall. If I'm throwing to Marshall, the first thing I'm going to do is make sure this foot, the arch of it, gets to him. If I'm throwing to Mikey or Jorge, it gets to them. If I'm throwing to Coach Vic, it gets to them because your shoulder will follow it. Your shoulder will follow it. What we see happening a lot is that when kids play catch, their foot is right there. So their basically toes are facing now coach. And it's impossible. Their shoulder can't get there. It can't. And they have to throw like that. So the feet, we really need to make sure that we're working on that too. So now we got some throwing part of it. And when we play catch, and I've been down in the T-ball and farm and everything, and there's various levels. For the older kids, we want movement playing catch. Like if Coach and I are playing catch, he throws it back to me, and then your feet are moving already. Your feet are moving, catching it. So now we're going to a little bit morph into pitching here. For the younger kids, and I would not teach anything but the stretch. If I have them on my team, but the stretch. Older kids, I don't think a lot of them are coordinated enough, or you have enough time within the baseball season, I'm talking for the younger kids, to really get them in a true windup. Because it takes so much can go wrong in the windup, that with a stretch, it is easy. I like just to make it simple. If this is my catcher, right here, foot against the rubber, I'm right here. I don't even like it for farm, and maybe minor kids in. I just like this, step right towards who you're throwing to, and finish. And finish. Now, you progress when you get a little bit older, and a little bit more coordinated, then you can lift, and step, and throw, right to him. When we lift this leg, we have to lift with the quad. Very important. You lift with the hamstring, your shoulders go back. You lift with the quad, you stay right here. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, right? Now we're going to get into the windup. If I'm a pitcher and I go too far this way, when I start to get to my balance point up there, my body's going to have to fall this way, and then I'm trying to go right to the plate, and now I'm falling this way, because it's just the way it works. The simplest way, in my opinion, to teach the windup, whether you want your hand back or you want to keep it here, whatever you're comfortable with, is do it in steps. Step 1 is a small step. Step 2, you're just basically turning that arch right to the catcher. Step 3, you're up and balanced. Step 4, your leg actually comes down before you throw. Step 5, you're here. We don't throw a baseball until our foot lands. That's why all those ground drills and everything like that, we're teaching our body when we do those ground drills for exactly whether we're throwing in the field or throwing pitching, this baseball doesn't get thrown until this foot lands. This foot lands, and then you already arm stroke coming back, and your core gets, and you're through. So step 1, short step. Step 2, short step. We don't want their chin to leave the ball in their back foot. We don't want that. Because what? For every action, equal opposite reaction. You start going this way, now I'm trying to get the balance. Now I got to fight to go this way, to go this way. Ultimately, we want to go straight to our catcher. The whole point of the windup is to get nice and tall and create that downward angle right towards the catcher. Any other movement is wasted. So step 1, 2, your chin is still over. 3, lifting with the quad. 4, your foot has to start coming down. 5, then you get to the plate. And when you get to the plate, you're here. Most kids will be here. 6 is coming through here, and 7 is finishing. It can be done with a sock downstairs. It can be done with whatever you want to do indoors, or some of these baseballs. You really don't need a catcher. You need a wall for some of these drills. And when I say finish, Vic, how many pitchers have we seen that, I'm a lefty, that missed right up there?
Oh,
Yeah, but it's because they never get through. They never get through. You're teaching the ball where to go when you throw. And if I never get through, I'm leaving it right here. If I get through, then I can drive the baseball down to my catcher. And that's about it that I have for pitching and throwing right now. I'll turn it over to Vic to do some catching.
all right, we're going to talk a little catcher. I've got my catcher here from our team. His name is Marshall McDonald. He's a junior, played for us last year, started as a sophomore. Does a good job. The best way to figure out who's going to be your catcher is make them all a catcher. At some point in time, especially when they're younger, get them back there. Right? I only caught because I wanted to wear the gear so bad. My brother would ride me to his game back in the day where your brother could take a 4-year-old with him. He would take me to his game, ride his bike, I'm on the back, super dangerous, no helmets. And I would sit in the stands and watch him play. In between innings, he'd come up, throw me, put the gear on me, and I'd sit there in full gear. Then when his team got done batting, he'd put the gear on himself and go catch. I wanted that gear so bad. All right, so I think just make them all catch, especially the younger guys. They want to catch. Right? Get them back. All right? So there's some of the drills I'm going to do with probably would be minor and up. Just kind of teaching them how to catch the ball, how to receive the ball. Talk about a good blocking position, though it's really, really difficult when they're younger to block pitches. It frustrates my son because you don't know where they're going. You know, Marshall, when he's catching for us, he's calling the pitches. He knows what's off speed. He knows where the location's going to go. It's pretty easy to anticipate where I have to go if I block it. When they're in minor, and that ball could go anywhere, right? And it might go right, left, it might go over the screen. And sometimes they do go over the screen. Right? And catcher can't block those. But if we teach that position a little bit early, they'll be better. But here's one we do. Watch them when they play catch. Right? Watch them while they throw. Do everything that Chris was talking about. Getting good arm action, good front side, make it active. Right? Moving their feet. Right? When we play catch in the varsity, we're always moving our feet. There's no time that we're standing. It's not a machine gun. We're not catching and throwing it, but we're catching and our feet are moving. We shuffle. We talk about counting starting. We do a lot of those things. So you watch them when they're young. See who catches the ball well, who throws the ball well. But more than that, make them all catch. Right? Because they're going to like it. Parents are going to want pictures of it. It's good. One drill we do here is to kind of teach them how to catch it. So they're not catching with their glove here. Or they're not messing with their hands. What we try to do is make sure that they catch everything in the webbing. Right? As you get older, too, they talk about framing, and that's all fallacy. It's really about presenting the ball in the webbing to get it to look the best. And that's the right, proper way to catch the ball for anybody. So this is a good one for a little kid who kind of would turn his glove over and he's going to take a pitch in the stomach and then he never wants to catch again. So what we do is Marshall's going to use these 2 fingers in his thumb. All right? Your guys can use their whole hand in their thumb, so he's going to present it like me. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to walk this little arc so he can actually watch. He's catching a pitch here, catching a pitch here, catching a pitch here. So Marshall's going to squat. He's going to get his fingers up, and I'm just going to, boom, he's going to work, catch it right there, going to throw it back down again. So even low pitches like that, you see Marshall's catching it still in the webbing. Don't turn the glove over. You don't want him to get hit on the wrist. I think that's what kind of scares kids away. But the idea that how to receive the pitch.
You can do this with the soft ones, and they can use all their different fingers because their hands are tiny. And then you're just kind of walking around, and it makes them have to watch, they have to track it with their eyes. So again, when you get that little minor league pitcher's throwing here and the next pitcher's over here, at least they're kind of used to watching those things. All right, that's a good opportunity for them to do those. Another thing we do is Marsh, just get down in your comfortable position. I think that's what you want to do. He's got his feet a little wider. If they're a little kid, let's get them a little bit tighter for us. So you want to be almost here in that good position. Maybe the heel's out a tiny bit. He's that position. He wants to be as low as he can. But you want to get him in that spot, make him sit there. Make him live there. Right, sit. Just have him put the hand out. 3, 2, 1. Then you get up, shake your legs out. Then you have him stand up, Marsh. Then you're like, all right, look at it, ready, here we go. You got all your catchers ready to show them your squat. They sit there, they get there. What I prefer is exactly where Marshall's putting his hand, kind of wrap it here. Right, a lot of guys want to stick it right back here, kind of wrap it down by my foot, keep it out of the way. Trust me, every catcher, including me in college, pros, eventually that hand starts sneaking up. You can't help it. That hand's going to get, and then when it goes back down is when you get it hit. And you're like, damn, I got to hide that again. All right, so then we go again, get your squat. Make sure they're there, 3, 2, 1. Make them get up, shake it off. You can do this with equipment, without equipment, make sure they get used to it. And then another one we'll do is just get into our blocking position. So we're going to get in our blocking position. What we're going to try to do, our fundamentals is, again, our legs are where they're almost like a V, somewhat wide. This would be his glove. He rolls his shoulders, tucks his chin, creates a cup. All right? And we'll work on that. We'll tell them that's their blocking position. So then we get it back up again. And then we say get in your stance. All right? And then we just say drop the blocking. Nothing, you don't have to throw a ball. So again, what you're focusing on is I want a soft chest, roll the shoulders, right? Maybe this is upper level as we get the Bronco pony. But if you get your younger guys in mind, at least thinking about this. Again, roll the shoulders, tuck the chest, or tuck the chin. I want to create a soft place for that ball to hit. Right? We had a catcher before who would tuck his chin, throw his shoulders back. It would hit his chest protector and would go all over the place. Right? The idea when there's a ball in the dirt is that we actually when we practice it, we'll draw like a little half arc in front of us. And what their job is when they block it, it's got to stay within that arc. So they got to soften it so it doesn't roll away. All right? So another one you can do is, Marshall doesn't have his gear on, but you make them do a competition who's in their stances, and you say go, and then you get back. So go to your stance, go to your block, and pop back to your stance. Get your stance again. Block, and then your stance. Get back up. You can have them do that. Who gets to 5 the fastest? All right? So then they got back up, recover, get back up, recover, get back up, recover. All right? So that's another thing you can do. If you've got these softballs, these things are great. I'm going to leave with these. Whoever brought them, just anticipate it. All right? So then you can just do it where he gets into blocking, he can block, and he doesn't do anything, and you just bounce the ball's head. Marshall loves that skill. Because I'm really far away, and I'm really hammering at him. So you just kidding, you can use tennis balls, whatever you want. And that's what he wants to do. Get that lean and keep the balls perfect on the mat. So you can do that to them, you make a competition. Here's what I would say, is especially at the age levels you guys coach, is make everything a game, make it a competition. All right, put a little circle around it, how many can you keep inside the arc? All right, make it a game, make it fun for them. I remember growing up, my dad was an ex-Marine, so I had a list of chores my whole life. And I would go out there and I'd cut the grass. I'd cut the grass every other hour, I think. He loved cutting the grass. And I'd make a game out of it. And he'd say, God, does everything have to be fun? And I remember looking in the eyes like, yeah, why else would I want to do it? Same thing with baseball. Right? Same thing with baseball. Make a game out of it. Because the catching gets to be a tough job. When it's 80, 90 degrees out there, 100% humidity, and all those kids who wanted to catch now are running away because you're catching today. And you're like, God, my shoulder hurts, my knee hurts. Right, you got to make it fun for them so they want to be able to come back and do it. So you can do those blocking drills, those receiving drills. Stance drills are really, really important. And then you continue, as Chris said, as our throwing is not how practice, getting ready for practice. Our throwing is part of practice. So as those guys are working on your throwing technique, you're working with the catchers. What Marsh does with our catchers and our throwing is a little different. So he's not moving his feet as much as he's hopping his feet. He's trying to really keep it on the line. He doesn't get much doesn't get a ton of long toss like our outfielders do because he doesn't have to. But you can work with them when you're doing those things also. So those are just a handful of drills you can do with the little guys. Again, just encourage them all to catch, get them behind there, and that's all I got.
Can you demonstrate real quick how you get out of your crouch and then
Okay,
thrust? Yeah, just some footwork.
For us, it's just a really quick. It's just exchanging his feet. So if Marshall's going to see a pitch and he's going to throw out the coach there, so he's just kind of exchanging his feet. Where this foot was, now this foot's going to be. All right, it's quick. He actually will prep himself, so this foot will be turned a little bit. He won't be as down as much in his stance. All right, so he's anticipating guys on first. So he's just going to replace his foot. Where this foot was, this foot will be. And he kind of replaces his feet. All right, see, he does the same thing Coach talks when he gets right up here, the elbows here, real active front side. Right, picture stretching a rubber band. Man, I got to stretch that rubber band to get the ball going forward. And you can do that too with the softballs. That's it.
Thank you, Coach.
You're welcome.
Thank you. What's that? Sean Biederman, he will be taking us through some hitting. And you'll need this, do you, Sean? Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Chris is going to pass out a couple handouts. I was working on it over the last couple of days when he asked me, and it's a privilege to talk to you guys today, and I appreciate all that you do to work with kids. It's I'm a high school athletic director and a baseball coach, and I just came from a winter sports banquet. That's why I was running a few minutes behind, and we sat down today. We appreciate all our coaches and all our parents and all our athletes for all that they do, and sport's a learning process that's part of education. Okay? So what you're doing with the kids every day is making an impact on them, positive, hopefully. I've had some coaches that have been good. I have some coaches that didn't work out so well. Okay, and it was all about approach. Okay, so the age of the kids that you're going to talk to and work with is going to range. So it might be a 6-year-old who's new to baseball. It might be a 13-year-old who's played for 7-8 years. Okay, what I've done is I've kind of put some general thoughts and ideas down of some things that we work with our kids on in Aurora Central Catholic, and things that apply to young kids as well. So the other side is the fielding. This side here is the hitting. Number one thing to understand when you're working with kids with hitting is that everybody's been taught differently. Okay? There's not one website, there's not one plan of how to teach kids. Okay? And most of them are taught by their mothers and fathers, which is great. Okay? But they all learn differently as well. Okay? So, the funniest thing is we host a lot of travel baseball at our school, so I get to sit around and watch those games and listen to people talk about baseball, and you hear a lot of chatter about hitting. Okay, so back in the 1960s, 70s, the big thing was to put your elbow, right? That was the way. That kind of evolved into right here more recently, where the hands are relaxed and loose. But there's no right way, wrong way. It's what the science of today teaches, and the science of today will be changed tomorrow. Okay? So we ask that our kids are comfortable when hitting. Okay? We have about 60 kids in our program, and like I said, we're a little bit different being a private school, so I appreciate you guys all coming out and be able to listen. Hopefully you're feeding into Coach Wisner's program down the road, but I have 20, 30 towns of kids that are coming to me. Okay? So with that being the case, I really have to understand that all kids learn differently. Okay? And there's no way that, we run coaches clinics, we work with our local organizations, but there's no way that I know every day what's being taught, and I shouldn't. That's the responsibility of the younger coach working with the kids. So, patience is key when you first start working with hitters, okay? Especially the young ones, okay? The biggest thing for a young kid is to make sure you got them the right bat, Now, parents, I mean, you're new to this, some of you, baseball is expensive. It's incredibly expensive. Bats are a couple $100, okay? Gloves are a couple $100. And a baseball parent financially is taking advantage probably the most of anybody I know, other than maybe like the middle-aged golfer, okay? It's a racket, okay? When you go on baseball savings and it's still $200, right? So my recommendation is to get a bat that your son or daughter can swing without a ton of effort, okay? Without a ton of effort. So if your kid's getting up in their stance and they're holding the bat like this, it might be because it's too heavy or it's too long, all right? Most of our high school kids swing a 32-inch bat, okay? Some swing 33 once they're a senior, maybe a 34 if they're a real big kid, but that's usually what they swing, okay? And younger kids are in the mid-20s when they're younger, higher when they're older. The difference is, though, as they grow older, they start to have those bat restrictions, right? So in high school, they can only swing a -3, okay? All right, now, it used to be like a -7, coach, remember that? 5, 7, 2 3/4, it was all just flying around, okay? Bad day for pitchers back then. But what we do is very simple. We are not a big gadget program by us, and I mean that where I don't go on the internet and look for all the tools to try to teach a kid how to hit. We pretty much work everything with our tees, okay? Tees and flip work and seeing live pitching as much as we can. We try to demonstrate game scenarios every time we can. Coach made a really good point of making everything competitive, okay? We try to make every hitting drill competitive. But the skill and the challenge of that for each kid is to make it individually competitive, okay? And the way we do that is we give scenarios every time they come up to hit. So we don't come into the cage and say, all right, I'm going to put a bucket of balls on here, I just want you to take a bunch of swings, okay? So then, we're taking 25, 30 swings, we're getting tired, we're getting lazy. We get in and we say, okay, your first 10 swings are nice and easy at 80% to 100%, get your body loose, okay? And we don't factor that in, okay? When they're little kids, they're thinking they go in there and they start swinging full speed all the time. I mean, if I take a full swing right now when I haven't warmed up, I'm going to pull my back out and not be able to walk out again. Okay, most of us are the same way, right? So you got to get yourself 80% to 100% with about 8 to 10 swings as you go. And the same is true with throwing progression. When we hit ground balls, starting fielders, we'll talk about that. You work from 80 to 100%, okay? And you build up a progression so that you're ready to go. Preparation every day is so important in the cage. So when we get in the cage and we get on the tee, everything we do is 8 swings or less. And the reason for that is it moves, it's quick, and also there are very few at-bats in baseball that last longer than 8 pitches. Okay? I would discourage going into the cage and throwing a full bucket to a kid before he gets out. Because by the time you're done throwing that bucket, the kid's down here swinging like this, he's just done. Okay? 8 swings on high focus. All right, that's what we do. Every time we get into the cage and we throw to our kids, it's competitive. All right, so here's what we got. You're coming into the cage, it's a 2-0 count. What are you looking to do? We're asking questions. Okay? It's 0-2, what are you looking to do? Okay? We're going hit and run here. We got a runner on third with less than 2 outs. We got a runner on second with nobody out. Where are we doing with the baseball? So we're giving them something to think about. Okay? What I would do with the younger guys is say, look, swing with a purpose. Okay? Here's where I'm looking to strike the baseball. When we set the ball up on the tee, we do a couple of different things. We use our seams a lot on the ball. Okay? So we set the ball up on the seams. So I can see the seams right here. So when we teach a kid to drive the ball hard on the ground, we're teaching our kids then to, don't worry about this, strike down on the seams, okay? So they can visualize what they're doing, okay? If we're working on, we got a runner on third base with less than 2 outs and we're in a regional championship and we got to get that guy in and the infield is in, we very rarely teach this, but we need guys to elevate the baseball, okay, purposefully, okay? So I would tell them, strike up on the seam, okay? So the purpose of all of this is you can make, every time a person gets on a tee and in a cage, think about what they're doing so that it doesn't become lethargic and there's always a purpose, okay? And the young kids will love that sort of stuff because it's a challenge to them, all right? So the first 8 times you get in here, I want to strike down on the seam. The first 8 times I want you to strike up on the seam. The next 8 times I'm going to go to an 0-2 count and move the ball off the plate to you. Okay, so you're right here. So I'm looking on, striking the ball that way, okay? Then your next 8 swings, I'm going to put the ball right on top of you, and you're going to strike the ball down here. I'm going to work on getting on top of the baseball. And then I'm going to look on, since, you know, obviously we need to be able to go up and down within the strike zone. Then I'm going to go, we're even. So, 0-2, 1-2, I may be up here, okay, and I'm working on keeping my hands right where they need to be. We teach our kids, unless it's 2 strikes, we're not chasing anything above our hands, okay? It's an automatic out for us. We're not big enough, we're not strong enough, okay? So we teach our kids anything that you don't like with less than 2 strikes, you are not swinging. There's too many times in high school baseball where kids go up there and they get themselves out, okay? Things drive me crazy, Coach. Oh, you got kid's got a 2-0 count, he's looking fastball, kid throws a breaking ball and he gives one of these swings, it just pops up on the infield, okay? It's a killer. You just bail the kid out. All right, what we do is swing with a purpose, be relaxed, but have an objective when you go up to the plate, okay? Hey, your objective may be hit a double in the gap. That's what you try to do every time, okay? But know what you're looking for, okay? A couple other things, and I'm going to let you go through a lot of these on your own, but we believe in small corrections over complete overhauls. Gordy Gillespie, the former head coach at St. Francis, Ripon College, Hall of Famer, greatest baseball coach maybe of all time, passed away recently. He used to say that you put a young kid in a batting cage and he'll do 9 out of 10 things right. You get that coach starting to work with him, and every time that goes down. Now it's 8, now it's 7, now it's 6, because all we do is, instead of letting the kid swing and have fun at what he's doing, all right, well, I want you to move your hands here, I want you to get your arms up here, I want you to bend your knees down there. How many of you are teachers here? You can follow about 1 directive at a time, right? So you just change 4 things without even giving the kid a chance to blink. So instead of teaching him how to go swing the bat, you just confused him beyond belief. Small corrections. So if you see a couple things that maybe you want to alter, maybe do the first one on that first 8 swings, the second one on that second 8 swings. Remember, hitting is a progression, okay? You're not going to change it every day. Bad habits aren't just going to turn upside down the first time you get in the cage. You're going to have to work on them, okay? You're going to have to work on them. Most kids love to hit the baseball, right? Most kids, that's the first thing they want to do is get in the cage and hit. They want to go to the cages where they're at Just Fun or wherever they are. When do kids not want to hit? What do you think?
It's cold out.
Cold? Yeah, definitely. We didn't like to hit the other day. We were outside. It was really cold out. Kids were like, "Can we go inside and hit?" No. We got to get used to it. What else?
2 outs.
2 outs, definitely. See, I love for our kids to hit with 2 outs because I want to see what kind of hitter they are. I want to see their toughness, you know. 2-out hits are what win game and lose games. But you're right, because they are fearing that 3rd out, that being on them. And it's never on them. It's on the whole team. But it's because kids fear failure, okay? When kids don't want to hit, it's because they fear failure. So, you ever see a kid just, you know, whale a ball, hit a home run, and say, "That's awful." No, but when he strikes out, or when she grounds out into a double play, they're ticked. It's performance, okay? So what you need to do as coaches is to reinforce that when you hit, it isn't always about results, okay? Especially when you're working in things. We use this line all the time in the cage. I don't want you to worry about results. We're working on things right now. The results will come with work, okay? So if I'm working with a kid on hands, if I'm working on a kid on bat placement, all I'm having them think about is, we're working on this. So if you're not striking the ball as well as you were before, that's okay. That's okay. It's not about results all the time. If it was about results, we'd be failing every class, right? Failing 7 out of 10 times, okay? It's not about results. It is in the end when you're, you know, when the season's going on and all that. But right now, when you start working with your kids, they're going to struggle, right? How many kids do you think have been swinging and doing work right now? Maybe 30% of the kids that are going to be on your team, right? So you got to kind of slowly bring them into it and build confidence every day. All right, so, you know, constructive feedback versus blurt outs, okay? You know, don't strike out. Okay, coach, I got that. I won't do that again. I won't do that again. Hey, that kid's working you away. It's 0-2. Why don't you get on the top of the plate a little bit and take that away from him and see what happens the next at bat. Okay. Maybe you ought to be aggressive earlier in the count because this kid's peppering the strike zone left and right, not to dig yourself into a hole in the count. Okay. There's kids that you're going to teach to chase pitches early in the count if they're there, and there's people that are going to teach to be patient based on ability level as well. But why'd you ground in that double play? I don't know. You know, I mean, and you're not going to get the answer you want from a 9-year-old. Okay, that's going to be the response is going to be tears. Okay, and that's going to be your fault for doing that to that kid. The bottom line is give them constructive criticism, but give them constant feedback and make it positive as much as you can, because these kids are at a vulnerable age whether or not they are going to enjoy baseball. And right now, the impact that you have on them as a young coach is going to be whether or not they want to continue with baseball. Okay. They will remember their favorite coaches and they will remember their least favorite coaches. Okay? Your approach to that is so important. I ask all of my coaches that work with me, what are you going to do today? Okay? How are you working with our kids? How are you making them better? Okay? Come in every day with a little bit of a plan. All right? We don't, I appreciate you guys are all here and want to work. You just don't go into, the field out there in 2 weeks and just roll the balls out and say, go get them, guys. I mean, no, we come in with a plan, all right? And we'll talk about practice plans a little bit later, but, how do you teach kids how to hit? You keep it simple, all right? You teach them that their hands need to be where they need to be. We're not strangling the bat, right? It's in the fingertips right here, right in that pocket of your fingers, okay? You teach them to be relaxed. You teach them to have good mobility right here. Okay, you're teaching them to be quick. So on ESPN, they always talk about exit velocity. It has nothing to do with how hard they're swinging. It's how quickly they're swinging, okay? So if I'm telling a kid, swing harder, I mean, swing faster, swing quicker, have quicker hands, see the ball, recognize the ball. All right? The kids that are going to develop as hitters longer and longer, they're going to see the baseball differently than those who struggle at the plate. So you've got to work on those things with kids, okay? And the more they see the ball, the better they are, all right? So, next couple of weeks when you get to start working with your kids, I encourage tee work, okay? The tee I have, I think, costs like $20, all right? Get a couple of those if you can. If you can't, that's all right. The other thing we do a lot of flip work, okay? And when we're flipping the kids, Coach, we need more room here. So coach is our hitter over here. If I'm flipping the coach, I don't want this, okay? I want a good firm flip, okay? Similar, no, that's why I didn't catch it. So, but the bottom line is, I want a good firm flip as the kid is swinging, okay? The bottom line is, this gets people hurt, and nobody gets better because nobody ever sees a pitch like that, right? The bottom line is, you want kids to be able to visualize where the baseball is going. One of the great drills that I think our kids really enjoy is we do tee work, but we do the length of the cage. So we put the tee on the end of the cage, kid is in a stance, takes a swing, and tracks where the ball went for 65 feet. You can see it, right? Rather than going right into a net. So if I can say, all right, I got you 0-2, tee's on the outer half, where are you looking to go? I'm looking to go right between second base and first base. I strike the ball that way, and I can track it for about 45 feet until it goes into that net, all right? Everything is game-like, is what we try to do. So try to keep it to 8 pitches when you're working with them. Work on the tee, okay? Let them have a lot of fun. Make it competitive, all right? When you're throwing to them with the screen, constantly compliment. Any ball that hits the screen from a hitter, terrific. Base hit, give them another swing, all right? Reward, 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 okay? They'll buy into that like crazy. Be careful with criticism. It's okay to give constructive criticism, but you got to bring it on both ends, okay? If you're constantly breaking kids down, you got to give them the positive end of things too, all right? Otherwise, they're not going to like the game, okay? Last things for today for me on hitting. overcoming fear. I think that's a big one with kids at the plate. There will be a time where a kid gets hit with a ball as a hitter, all right? It's hard and it hurts, okay? How do you overcome that fear? Every kid will be a little bit different with that, but you got to talk with the young man or the young lady and let her know that this is not a normal part of the game, but it does happen from time to time. If you have a son or daughter that's been hit on the elbow a couple times, I just had my leadoff there the other day. We were inter-squad, and my #1 pitcher, and of course, he drills him right on the elbow, second day, okay? About 86 miles an hour right off his elbow. He's out of 2 practices, couldn't feel his hand for 2 days. He's back in now because he knows what it feels like, and he's aware of it. But what he's wearing today, he's wearing an elbow pad over it. So it just builds a little bit of confidence, and eventually he'll take that off at some point, but it's a mental thing, okay? You got a kid that's struggling with getting hit with pitches, maybe when he gets into the cage, you work him pitches away to start. So he's working on going with the pitch and driving in that, and you're keeping that foot from going here, okay? Don't throw him inside because this is what's going to happen, okay? Away, 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 work your way into the middle, and then work your way back into the plate. It'll build confidence. And use these, okay? These types of baseballs can be bought on Amazon. They're really soft, okay? They track the same way as a regular ball. I mean, it's not going to fly as far, but you're going to get good impact off a baseball, okay? So it's not like a wiffle ball where you hit it and, you know, it goes 8 feet. All right, this thing is going to move, okay? And these things are great, too, if you get to the field and you got a half an hour, go out in the outfield and throw these around and hit these if there's not a cage available, okay? That way a kid can get 8 to 10 swings before the game and he's ready to roll, all right? And then just work with tendencies, all right? And then work on strengthening the weaknesses, all right? Ask a kid, what do you feel strong about as a hitter? He'll tell you. I feel good about the ball inside. I feel good that I can hit the ball here. Okay, now what don't you feel strong about? Coach, I don't really like when people pitch me away or high, all right, or really low. All right, well, let's talk about that then. What can we do on the tee to improve that, all right? Talk to them a lot, okay? Even my 10-year-old, he'll probably tell me a bunch of things I don't want to know, but at the same time, he'll tell me what he likes and what he doesn't like with certain things with baseball. And there's certain things I can work with, and there's certain things I can't. But communication as a coach and a player is very important because hitting, yeah, we can do hitting with groups, but hitting is almost always instructional one-on-one, okay? So we usually have 2-3 hit coaches in the cage, which is good. When you break up your coaches, make sure that a couple are with different people. If you're by yourself, you got to do the best you can. But if you can get breakdown work where you can put 2 coaches in the cage while 2 or 3 people are working somewhere else, that's awesome. But try to limit the size of your groups in the cage at one time. You get 12 kids outside of the cage, I mean, good luck chasing them around the park, right? I mean, try to keep it half and half, all right? Half and half, 5 to 6 kids, 8 swings, make it move, all right? That way they're engaged. They don't have time to screw around if there's only 8 pitches in between, okay? And that pretty much covers a lot of the things that I wanted to talk about with hitting. But if you have any questions about drills, like I said, we do a lot of tee work, we do a lot of flip work, we do a lot of live simulation. When we do inter-squads, we do everything with our pitchers versus our hitters in one-and-one counts, okay? So that we keep the pitch counts down, and also our hitters understand that they need to be attacking the ball within the zone. Because I've got outfielders, I've got infielders out there don't just need to be sitting around all day while it's 3-2 on every hitter, okay? So we try to make things move as much as possible. Any questions? Yeah.
John, you talked about, like having kids not chase anything below your hands. And at the lower levels, if you told kids that, they would just stand around and get walked all day. So how do you balance that with
It's tough.
being aggressive enough to actually teach yourself to swing at the baseball?
Well, it depends, because one of the things is, what are you want the kids to be active, you want the kids to swing, you want the ball and play, right?
Yes.
And yes, your strike zone does it goes up to here, it goes up to the chest, right around that area. So I would say it's the chest, almost the neck where it comes out of play, all right? If it's up here, we certainly don't want to chase, but if it's anywhere in here, we're going. So the older you get, the smaller the zone gets, right? But yeah, we got to be aggressive. If you think there's a kid that can handle that pitch, go get it, all right? But you got to know the kid. I mean, I would never teach my kid to chase it over his hands because there's nothing he's gonna be able to do with it. You know what I
Kind
mean?
of tailor the approach with that kid. based
Yeah,
on-
individually. Yeah, because you wanna go to the ballpark, you wanna see your kid get a couple hits, you wanna see him walk 4 times. You know what I mean? So that's the challenge, that's the individual approach. And we teach our kids to go up a little bit if we recognize that what most of the pitches were. And also we react to how the umpire's calling the game. You know, if he's giving it up here, then you gotta expand to it. We teach our kids, you go one time through the lineup and see the way he's calling the game, and then you gotta react accordingly. All right. So if I got an umpire that's giving it 5-6 inches off the corner, I better get up on the plate and take that away. So yeah, I mean we adapt to that just because it gets stagnant and boring. You know, very few young kids are gonna be able to put it exactly where they want. But yeah, I can go up here, but I don't want to go up here. You know what I mean? So, any other questions? Yes, sir.
You were talking about bat length. Is there like a rule of thumb when you're trying to start out kids with a bat length?
Yeah, I mean, some of the stores now let you go and swing them, and it's going to be tailored to each individual kid. I mean,
I'm talking about little.
yeah, I
like
mean,
5,
I would
6
go, I mean, they start as small as like 25, 24.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're kind of starting with that new USSSA standard, they're kind of -10. You go from 25-inch, 15 ounces, and then they move up that direction. Where I think in a couple of years, if you can get a -14 and a -12, they're still there. But anywhere from 25 up to 30. You know, when you're starting to play 90-foot
It's
bases.
just
when
hard to
you're
pick
starting
up
to
the
play-
right bat for a little kid.
it's a great question because you're also making a big investment in buying that bat. But for every parent that is, and here's the thing, you got a little bit of leeway with a younger kid though because of the dispersion in weight. So the weight is more important, I think, than the length per se with that because you're still working with a young kid anywhere between 15 and 18 ounces. The difference between a kid swinging a 34 in high school is 31 ounces versus a 32, he's swinging 29. That's a big difference at that age. So it's a big difference for a kid coming in freshman year that's been hit with a -5 or more to adjust to the -3 because he can't get it through as quick. So usually they have to cut down on the length of their bat to make up for that compensation. So, no, it's a good question though.
At their age, maybe up to 2 years under the bat, maybe.
Yeah.
Depends on how big they get to a growth spurt, but really the weight is so much more important than the one.
Played again in town here, played again, has some good deals too where you can go in there and find bats that are kind of from the year before that you can get for $60, $70 that were normally like $200 bats. You know, I go there when I get my son's bats and check them out first, get a good Easton, you know. It's not something that I'm willing to overspend on at this point because I'd rather you work on hitting and doing those things right than the bat's not going to do the work. It's like you buy the greatest golf club in the world and you still can slice it in the woods, you know what I mean? It's the same thing. Might be a question.
I was gonna say at Dick's, they say from the barrel of the bat to the handle should be about to the center of the string.
Yeah.
But like a rule of thumb for length.
Yeah, whatever you feel like your kids can handle, and everybody's going to be different, but if you see the bat start sagging here and he's constantly having to choke up to get it under control, the bat's too big. I mean, you should be comfortably in this area with your hands locked right there, be able to move, okay? If you're all the way up here without 2 strikes, I mean, everybody sees Anthony Rizzo's, is all the way up here with 2 strikes, right? He's very exaggerated with it, but he's looking to get good control. Our generation remembers like Barry Bonds was always choked up, all right, on the bat, that he could attack it, and he was using a short bat. He was kind of doing other things too, but to contact, he was incredible, okay? Just went 100 feet farther because of what he took. But any other questions? Yes, sir.
My daughter's hounding me for a composite bat.
Yeah.
Is there a big difference between the composite compared to?
Oh, I mean, yes and no. I mean, the manufacturers nowadays are told to keep them within certain modifications anyways. So like there's a standard that's set today. In high school, it's set by the National Federation. It has to have a stamp on it, okay? So what I would ask, and I'm not familiar with every different type of model that's made with the composite bats, but I don't notice a whole big difference between those and the old ones based on impact. It's just whatever you feel comfortable with, you know. Hey, if it's worth another 30, 40 points because she feels good swinging it, go for it, you know what I mean? It's just all confidence in what you're using. And I mean, I don't even remember the bats that I had in high school. That's how long ago it was, okay? But kids today, you know, they got to swing something they're comfortable with, or you're giving the pitcher an advantage. The baseball is the same for every pitcher that's on the mound. The bat's different, okay, for every kid. And if a kid has a bat that's way too heavy, they're already in a hole, all right? So then that bat's coming through and it's slow, or just lugging everything through, using our arms, sweeping through versus, you know, right there, quick, okay? When you get something you can handle, that's easy for me because it's a fungo bat, but it's one of those things where comfort beats everything else, okay? Thanks, guys. Go ahead, sir.
Hey, this is probably for more for the league too. Are we going to be making the switch to the USA bat next year? Because people are talking about bats this year. We want to make sure we don't go buy a composite bat for $250 that's irrelevant next year. Are we leaning that way?
I couldn't tell you, so that's for your board.
I just figured I'd ask.
We're in discussions on that right now.
Yeah.
We're discussing it this month.
So we don't waste money.
Thank you, Sean.
Yeah, progress.
Thank you, Sean.
If I can piggyback really quick with Sean, what we did as far as hitting wise too, is we focus so much on the process now. So and I know he does the same thing, is we track quality at bats. Every kid's gonna know their average, even if you don't, it's like when you're little and you're like, oh, we don't keep score. Well, yeah, all the little kids know, right? So we track their average, but we really track quality at bats, because then it lets us focus on the process. Did you hit it hard? Did you see more than 6 pitches? Did you get it on the barrel? Was it hard hit? Right? Because those are things that we're really focusing on. So then we give those kids a percentage of that. I can tell you in the 4.5, 5 years we've done that, our averages have actually skyrocketed because, as Sean said, now they've got a purpose. You kind of can work on that in the cage. Now they know I can hit it hard. Really, it's bizarre because once it leaves your bat, you have zero control. Some kid could track it down, make the most remarkable play in the world, and it gives you a 0 in the batting average, right? But it gives you a point in our quality of bat charts. So maybe you guys do that and kind of focus. Even with my son, I try not to ask him how many hits. He's going to tell me anyway, but I always ask him, how many barrels did you find? How many barrels did you get? Well, I got 3 today, Dad. No, that's good enough. And then eventually, like, yeah, but I only got 1 hit. Well, that's okay, right? Because it's a process. We want you to swing the bat. We want you to have that idea. Because they'll know their average, right? But if you give them these benchmarks, these goals when they're swinging, then they'll be more likely to put the ball in play. If they know a walk is a quality at bat, a hard hit out is a quality at bat, scoring a runner is a quality at bat. All those things kind of then this process takes over and the kids kind of get it. So, we've been friends a long time, but we haven't coached together. But those are the exact same things we do. We do tons of tee work, and unfortunately for you guys, sometimes kids have just left that level of tee work, and now when they come back and they see you bring that tee out, they feel like they're little kids again. And it's okay. Just kind of continually get them to swing it. My son, I bring a tee out, he hates it, especially when I bring it out at dinner time. He doesn't want to see those things, right? He doesn't want to see the tee as much, but again, it's good work.
You guys can track all this stuff too, like we're talking about. Everybody used to keep score in the book, right? I mean, somebody in the stands would take care of that. If you're willing to invest $40 a year for a parent or a group of parents to do it on Game Changer.
Or it's free, actually, as an administrator.
Yeah, but people want, they gotta follow it. But the thing is, I'll show you guys before we leave today, I've got some handouts on this. We track all our hitters through Game Changer, and it's just an electronic scoreboard. Or scoreboard, where the ball is tracked where it's hit, okay? And I'll show you one of our players, my brother, one of our former players who plays college baseball now. We have his whole last season tracked, and it's spray charts. It shows exactly where he makes his outs, where he gets his hits, where he strikes the ball more oftenly, where it's left side, right side, outfield, left side, right side.
How many pitches he sees per bat, how many pitches after 2 strikes. Those things are really hard to chart. This does it for you.
It does it all for you. I couldn't believe half the stuff it does for you. All you do is just push your finger where the ball goes. It's out, I mean, I'm like, this is terrific. And for us, it's easy because it goes right to the newspaper.
And the way we coach it is it's not so much the average, because, I mean, there's a kid who gets 16 blue hits and he thinks he's, Hank Aaron. But you get that kid who's putting the ball in play, hitting line drives, and him and I both had kids who have hammered the ball 15 straight times up and it's an out. And a lot of times we'll be like, hey, that next blue one is going to break it open for you. But how do we track that? Because he's still batting 0. Well, through Game Changer, through quality at bats, you track that. So this kid then doesn't say, oh my God, I'm hitless. What he sees is I'm batting 540 as far as my quality at bats are. So I don't have to change a ton. I get back to my tee work, I get back to my situational, I get back to hitting my hitting total, hitting it through, and it gives them a different mind frame. I really think so. I think when we were just tracking it the other way, kids only see one thing. This is how many hits I got. This is my batting average. And there's so much more into it. And this app is phenomenal because you're putting in it per pitch. So it tracks all that. Almost more information you could ever use in your life.
And it's easy to use.
Yep.
I mean, probably my son would know how to use it.
Ever use Game Changer for the
iPad
team
stuff.
enough? Right, you guys have used it, had good success. It's really nice, it's great for the parents because it compiles their stats. All I do is it automatically downloads from Excel. I can give it to my kids, so it makes it easier for me too. But again, just the way that we coach it, so much more process related, that allows kids to see it. It even does the same process related things for your pitching.
Yeah.
It'll chart pitches, how many first pitch strikes. I can tell you that when we throw a first pitch strike, we're 65% of the time, this is my program last year, that guy's gonna be out. First pitch strike was like 66 point something. First pitch strikes, 60-some% on Game Changer. Our process tells us if we're the first one to 4 runs. My team's like 64-2 in my 7 years. If we get the first team, we get the 4 runs. So it gives you a lot of crap that maybe wouldn't help, but there's a lot of things that allows the kids that if you're a process kind of coach like we are, the kids can then see it, helps them buy into it, and it really makes it successful.
Yeah, the pitching part's great too because you can break it down into different sections, whether it's per game. They don't do spray charts, obviously, with throwing, but what they do is they can track command per inning. So I can say that, I've got it printed out here today. I don't have 45 of them, I have about 20 of them if you're interested afterwards. One of my pitchers who's back this year, he's our #1 this year. He threw 45 innings last year. It can track by inning what he was averaging pitch-wise per inning and strikes. So I know that in the 5th inning that his strike percentage will go down to about 60-some%. That's when we look that he's getting tired, we gotta maybe make a move. Because it's all data analysis. Alright? That's why it's funny when I always see coaches like in high school now, like moving people like 30, 40 feet, and they might have like 2 at-bats on the kid. You know? I mean, it's like, some kids you see him moving, I'm like, yeah, keep moving. We know he's not going there. You know? I mean, but the bottom line is there's a little bit more data, and then, you know, it's an easy app. I mean, we trust our kids for the most part to do a lot of it. Not as much as anymore with the pitching because of our pitch count rules.
Yep.
And they tend to like make mistakes that get coaches in trouble, you know. So it's good though, and I think use it. Use it. You don't have to. I mean, but it's nice too, like when a parent's at work and can't come to a game, that they can follow the game from work where they're supposed to be working, you know. See how their kid's doing, okay? I mean, you can see it. It doesn't even have to be an iPad. You can do it on your phone. So it's nice.
It's just really process driven, and that's kind of coaches we are. It allows the kids then to see more than just the results. The results aren't everything, right? Results are different. All right, what I'm talking about is just kind of our beginning of our practice and our throwing routine. And this one is really, I had to work with my coaches because this is, you know, they teach all day long. They get outside the building, we set up, boom, they send the kids down the line to throw, and then my coaches just sit around and kind of BS. And I've been part of that too, right? And we really had to kind of change that to make them understand that throwing doesn't get you ready for practice. Throwing, when we go warm and we throw, that's part of practice. And you guys have done a really good job of those. I'm lucky enough that some of the things that Coach did, we started out doing all those things. We're standing in front of one knee and we're working flips. So I'm just working on staying on top of the ball, right? Then I'm from one knee and I have my elbow up, arm back, and I'm working driving active front side across. So we do those things, and you guys have done such a really good job that, and my freshman staff hammers it. So we started maybe a step ahead of that on the varsity level. What we want to do is eventually within our play catch is we want them, at least our infielders, to make 93 throws. We want them to make real throws they're going to make in our game. Our outfielders are going to end at long toss, working relays. We're always moving our feet, so our feet are moving. The guys receiving it, there's a point in our catch play where we're working tags, working relays. So we're doing all those things around it. So hopefully we're teaching them as we go along. So what I recommend is when you go out there and you play catch, you go with them. Teach them. It's probably the most important part of the game, right? Because if you really can't throw, it's hard to play it, and there is no such thing as like a 14-year-old DH, right? Usually that's like, for me, I ate myself into that position, right? I couldn't move as much. right? So you want to make sure they can throw. So what we do is we would start, and our freshmen start on one knee. They're active. They're going to do the same thing coach does. But if they're lean, they're going to be back. But our varsity is just me and coach here. And what we're going to do is we always talk about starting in our common starting position where our hands are in the middle. This is where all our ground balls come to, all our outfield throws, everything comes through common starting. And we're always moving our feet. So just a quick shuffle, shuffle. And it's real nice and slow. It's like 50%. And they're going to finish. And we would do is 50%. I get it here, my arm break, shuffle, shuffle. And then we're only maybe 30 feet away, maybe. Right? And it's time. They're doing that for 2 minutes. Right? It's time. They're moving their feet. They're moving their feet. And then what they're going to do is we're going to back up. So now we have little space markers on our field. So they know now they're in between the baseline. So we're always off the foul line. So they're going to be in between. And then the same thing. You're just going to catch the ball, shuffle, shuffle, arm break, and throw. Now they can catch it. Now this guy, they're going to catch a regular. So they can get stretched still. Now they get the sideways, shuffle, shuffle, and throw. And we'll do that for 2 more minutes. All right, then we're going to back them up. All right, maybe only a few extra steps. And now what we call this is our rhythm throw. We kind of tell them if there was music playing, it'd almost be like a dance. So now your feet are never set. So I'm going to shuffle and throw. And the coach shuffles and throw. I catch it, shuffle and throw. So I'm not catching it, looking around, talking to my guy next to me. I'm working on finding the ball, getting my position, shuffle, throw, shuffle, shuffle, throw. And then we do that for 2 minutes. All right, so now we get to 90, and now we do our positional. So they'll have the ball in their glove, and we're going to work our glove side. So it'll be in their ball, they're ready. They'll put it down glove side. Here, here's my common 30, shuffle, shuffle, and throw it on 90. So now it's 90 feet. All right, sometimes they'll go here, put it backhand, come through it, shuffle, shuffle, throw, and we'll do that back and forth. And while this is going on, our outfielders are doing the same. They're almost kind of coming up like they're coming through, shuffling my little crow hop, and they're getting their body moving forward. Right? We'll do that for 2 minutes. And then the single, last 2 minutes, our outfielders are long tossing to a relay guy, and our infielders are going to move in. They're about maybe 60 feet, and we call it our middle infielder pyramid. So, I mean, maybe this is probably advanced for you guys, but what they're going to do is, like when we throw the ball, my arm angle doesn't change much. Even if I'm throwing from down here, my body's going to come with me. So we do our pyramid over the top, 3/4, side arm. Over the top, 3/4, and my body, my hip angle, everything's going to change with me. If I stood straight and I'm trying to throw to John in the back, and I side arm it, that ball's going to take off and go over there. So we kind of do that over quickly, and that's about a minute. And that's how we finish, and then boom, they come together. And then we end our throwing with some type of skill. So we may move the outfielders out there, and we may do relays quickly. We have 3 lines. We have left fielder, center, right, and they're working with their cutoffs. These guys are working their feet, they're working, or we'll end it where our outfielders then go grab the helmets, and we're going to do rundowns really quick. So we'll end it with like a 2-minute skill. So we're going to do rundowns with our outfielders, so we'll do our rundowns, right? And then we are ready. That's part of practice. So we've already made throws we're going to make in a game, right? We've kind of fielded the ball how we would in a game, and we got them thinking about what they're going to do now for the next part of practice. And then what that takes us then is to like our drawing mechanics, our transitional, our infield work. And then Sean will talk about those things.
So, Coach mentioned when you come out to the field that you have a start point for practice and you have in your mind what an end point of practice is. And you know, even at the high school level, we like to tell our parents that here's what time we normally end. Okay? So when you're putting that practice together in your head, you got to break it down into the different areas. Okay, so you know, we can get warmed up, throw, get stretched, run, hopefully in about 15 to 18 minutes. We have to because we're on the road, we're playing somewhere, and we get off the bus at 4 o'clock, and we got to play at 4:30. We got to get ourselves into that pattern. Just like we tell our hitters not to get into the cage and just start swinging full go, our infielders, our outfielders, our pitchers, our catchers have to throw to a progression to get themselves ready. So everything Coach was talking about there is correct, that they're doing all these things to build a progression. You flip on the TV and you watch the spring training practices out in Arizona, and everything's at about 80%. The way they're throwing, the way they're getting themselves in the progression, the way that they're building up their strength to compete, okay? We've been fortunate, our field is pretty good. It's nice when you're the AD and the baseball coach that you can get your field ready. Our softball field's ready too, so don't think it's just baseball, but not yesterday, but I think it was today, maybe. But the bottom line is, we've been able to get on our field this week 4 times, okay? We've been able to inter-squad 3 times. We've been able to take ground balls, fly balls almost every day. And what's nice about it is you're outside. Well, what's dangerous about it is you're outside, and kids haven't thrown outside since the fall, if we're lucky. For some of them, it may be the spring, it might be the summer. So when we put the pitcher on the mound, and he's gone through his bullpen, he's ready to throw, we tell him, you're throwing at 80% right now. We'll build up to 100, but you're not just going to let it loose the first day you go out there when it's 42 degrees and it's windy. You're looking for trouble. And you're also looking for trouble with your infielders and your outfielders if you're cutting it loose like crazy early on. Right? There are a lot of infield drills that we can talk about today and outfield drills that we talk about today that don't use throwing. Okay? So when we were outside this week, we were outside 4 days. We only really threw on 2.5 of them. Okay? So when I was working with my infielders 2 days of the week, we did drills where they weren't throwing. Okay? Because in week 2, I need them ready to go because we play in week 3. So the last thing I want is a tired arm starting day 1. Okay? Well, our first game at Aurora Central is March 12th against Westmont. We'll play, as long as it's not snowing or raining. We'll play. So I have a responsibility to get my players ready to play on that day, and it starts on day 1 when I plan a practice of how I'm building progression. Because even though I know my kids do all kinds of baseball outside, I pretty much assume that they're not ready to throw the first day they're there. Some will surprise us and say, we will see it, that they're ready to go, but most will say, nah, we got to build this up, okay? And you can do that in your open gyms and so forth, but it's only so much when we're throwing in a gym or a field house. You get outside, you're fighting wind, okay? You're fighting weather. It's nice in here right now, but I'll tell you, if we went outside and threw a ball right now, it's going to feel a lot different, okay? Especially when I start getting myself into 50, 60, 70 throws at practice. Imagine you're a third baseman. Imagine you're a shortstop throwing the ball every time somebody hits you a ground ball for a week straight when you haven't thrown very much. You've got to build up that progression. So what we do with our infielders, all of our work at Aurora Central is breakdown work. Okay? So our infielders and our outfielders will work together with our catchers and our pitchers for live competitive situations. I got on the sheet there on the bottom the 27, 21, 18 out scenarios. This depends on the length of your games. We work live situations all the time with all of our players. We have extra guys that are running the bases, and then they'll shift to the outfield, the infield, and bring those guys in and rotate them accordingly. But when we work directly with our infielders and our outfielders, unless we're working pop-fly communication, cutoffs, things of that, they're almost always separate. Okay? So we'll usually send our outfielders to the cage to hit first. Our infielders are on breakdown. Okay? Now what does that mean? It means that those are the areas where we're going to get down to the daily fundamentals. Okay? Fielding is one of the few things in baseball that anybody can be good at if they're willing to work at it. Most aren't, okay? Because it's hard. It's really hard to become a good fielder. A good infielder means that you understand so many different things of what's going on, that you attack the baseball, you know when to get the right hop, you understand your fields you're playing on, you understand the hitters. There's a lot of thinking that goes into it. But we usually put all that stuff in our kids' heads at practice, and then tell them in the game it's time to react, okay? I warn you as coaches to put too much information into a kid's head during a game. It's confusing, okay? We take 3 days a week, 4 days a week, 5 days a week, 6 days a week right now to get ourselves ready to go, and then we evaluate what happened during that game to what we're doing the next day in practice, okay? So if we kicked 5 balls on our infield, we're certainly going to be working on that the next day of practice, okay? If everything was perfect, we're still going to work on it, but we're going to emphasize that we're reinforcing what was good, all right? So all of our infield, outfield work is all timed, okay? So when I say we have breakdown work, it can range anywhere from 15 to 25 to 30 minutes, all right? So it's on a watch, all right? And we have drills, we have concepts and ideas that are broken into 5-minute intervals, all right? So Coach Wisner was talking about how we teach our guys to play catch, all right? When I'm working with infielders, I am constantly moving. So coach is throwing me the ball. I'll throw. Yeah, throw. I'm here. Okay, every time I throw as an infielder. Okay, as an outfielder, I'm a little bit more exaggerated, right? Okay, as an infielder, he's throwing me the ball. I'm here. Transfer the ball. Okay, I'm working on getting from here to here, right? As quick as I can. So we emphasize that right away when we're playing catch. Infielders, you're playing catch a certain way. Catchers, you're catching the ball, and then you're going down in your stance, and you're here. Okay, every day. That's what you're doing. Not every throw for a catcher, because you're going to wear them out. But the bottom line is you're always working on something that's involved with your position. Now, for the younger guys, they play every position. So you have to say, all right, I want you to work as an infielder on that when you're playing catch today. I want you to be long and exaggerated as an outfielder on the next one. Okay? So you got to continue to talk to them about what you're expecting them to do. So when we play catch as infielders and outfielders, you're doing it in a specific way. That's the first thing that we do. But then when we get down into breakdown work with our infielders, we do, and our kids don't necessarily like this because it's hard, but every day we do what's called our tunnel drill. Okay? Our tunnel drill, boring. It's one of the few things that I learned when I was in high school from our high school coach, and I carried it through because I really believe in it. Okay, our tunnel drill is very simple. We get into a good infield stance. We're right here. Okay, our gloves up. We're not here. Okay, we're not here. You know, we're here, and all I'm doing is I'm breaking down fielding. Okay, I'm a right-handed thrower, so I'm getting a ground ball and don't throw it here. All I'm doing is breaking down my progression. I track the ball. I'm right here on my right. I'm going wide with my left. My glove is going all the way to the ground. My head is staying up, and I am right here. Okay? I'm right here. I am attacking. See where my glove is. I'm attacking all the way out here. Why don't I want it back here? Does anybody know?
You got less range of motion.
Oh, yeah, definitely, right? And also, if it's back here, what's exposed? My whole body, right? All right, I'm going to get one in the face if my glove's back here, or worse, that's the ball that hits you in the leg because your leg's actually in front of your glove, or it's by you. You want to be out here to a point where you're almost uncomfortable, okay? And being 39 years old and not being athletic anymore, I'm very uncomfortable right now. But the bottom line is kids that are 12 years old, 10 years old are going to be able to do this without any pain. High school kids, they get sore doing this every day. Okay, and they got to build a progression to it because it's good fielding. So we do the length, half the gym or the length of the gym, depending on what we want to do. We'll put it on a clock and say 5 minutes, tunnel drill, go. And then we'll go right here, down, into a throwing motion. Set back up, right here, down here, out front, throwing motion. Okay, all the way down the floor and back. And we will be on them so hard if they get lazy with it. They start doing this. Okay. What are you doing? We're working on things, okay? We're working on things. You've got to be able to put 5 minutes into being an infielder, all right? Because guess what? When you do this right, it builds a foundation of what you're doing defensively, all right? And this leads to success out in the field. Okay, so our fields, Little League fields, you want to get everything out in front of you, okay? You don't want to leave it to chance that the ball's going to hit like some sort of like 8-foot rock that's been out there for 3 weeks. Okay, or the ground's really hard, right? That's baseball. Okay, I mean, I grew up playing the same way. You got to be careful. You got to be aggressive. My old field, or my field when I was at Driscoll, when we played at Aurora Central Catholic, the field was so bad. I used to tell our guys they were not allowed to get a ground ball that took 2 hops off the dirt. You had to get everything off the first hop, or the second one was coming at your head. That was what was going to happen out there. Now we fixed those problems. But you have to be aggressive as an infielder. So I'm here, I go the full length of the floor for a couple minutes on my tunnel drill. The next progression is then I get a partner. And Chris is going to be rolling me the baseball. So I'm going to be about 12 feet from each other. I'm going to be down my stance. He's just going to roll me the ball. I'm going to get in my tunnel drill here. I'm going to flip it back. And we're going to do about 10 of them in a row. Okay, not here. Okay, so I'm always moving, just like Chris talked about. When you want to get ready to throw, we tell all our infielders, it doesn't matter how hard you can throw the baseball, it's how quick you can throw the baseball. All right? You've seen it, guys, where they get down there, they kick the ball, they pick it up, and they throw it as hard as they can, and the ball goes 50 feet down the line. Right? Okay, quick, and compose. So after that, we'll
Hey,
do.
Chuck, can I say something?
Yeah.
Infielders, you want to catch the ball in the palm. You want to catch it there, because that way you can put your throwing hand right in there. You catch it in the webbing, and you're feeling around for the baseball with some of the kids there. You want to catch it in the palm.
Yeah. And the tone drill does a nice job too, and the rolling drill does a nice job too, because it teaches you to have your glove open. There's too many times that kid will go down like this, and he can't get the ball. If it's here, he can get the ball. Okay? Too many times where we go down and get the ball, or we go real late, and the glove isn't down when the ball is coming to us. You want to be down and ready well before. Okay, well before. So then we would progress to what we call our short hops. So we get a little bit closer, and Chris would, he'll short hop me. I'm going to do my best on this, okay? He's going to short hop me, okay? And then he's going to be my partner, and I'm going to short hop him. So we're going to go like this for about 3 minutes each, okay? And then we're going to get here, and then we're going to get here, okay? So we're going to do short hops right at each other. And then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to our forehand on short hops. Right there, okay? So you're going to get it on your forehand, and square yourself up to throw. Then the last progression is, I'm going to get it on my backhand, and throw, okay? On my backhand and throw. So you're going to do them all for 3 minutes each. If you figure you got to do them for longer, that's fine. I promise you the first time you do this, you're going to be chasing balls all over the place. It's fine. It's fine. Just slow it down. The best thing you can do as a coach is have multiple baseballs. Ball got away, here you go, here's another one, okay? Then after we've done that, what we'll do is we'll put a ball on the ground, okay? I'll start here. I see the ball, field, and throw, okay? Field and throw. So now we've broken it down that way for another 3 minutes, okay? The worst thing that you can do is you just put them all in a line and say, I'm going to start hitting you ground balls. Okay? 12 guys in a line. There you go, fellas. Okay? Work on things. Okay? So then we're going to do that. And then what we can do is, coach can start hitting some light ground balls. Okay? Light ground balls from about 35, 40 feet, roll them, get in an approach. Last thing we do is called a recovery drill. You got a ball? So sorry, set, roll his wings. Recovery drill is this. I field, okay? Then I drop the ball, I approach it, I barehand it, and I throw, okay? So we all know that we're not going to field every ball cleanly, right? Hopefully we do, but we're not, right? So we teach our kids to barehand the ball when it hits the ground. But we have to practice for that too. So we put the ball on the ground, where we have success first by fielding it, and then dropping it, okay? And then go up and make a good targeted throw. Last thing I'll talk about, when we field as infielders, sometimes we don't throw. So here's how we do it at ACC. I don't know if you try to find a way that you can do this with your kids to avoid so many throws. We line up buckets when we do mass infield with our coaches that are hitting. They'll hit all the way across the infield. The kids will field, take a couple in a row, dump them behind them. They won't throw. After they've taken a bucket or two, they'll go grab all the balls, bring them to the coach. Okay? That way, all you're doing is getting ground balls, getting ground balls. Okay? The last thing you want to do is just be throwing all the time. Okay? Throw with a purpose. Okay? And if a kid's arm is sore, it doesn't help. All right? .27, 21, 18 ounce. These are just live situations where you as the coach have the fungo bat at the bat and have kids on base and you're playing baseball. You're hitting it places. You're talking to your kids about what's happening in these scenarios. All right, I got to run around first. I hit the ball to left field. Where's the ball go? Okay? Because we can't get mad at them if they throw it to the wrong base if we've never practiced it. Okay? You can't. All right? Or I got to run around first. I hit the ball back to the pitcher. Where's he going? We work on these things, okay? Every day. Constant movement versus practice stagnation. Keep kids moving during drills, okay? Don't put 12 in a line hitting ground balls, okay? Because they're going to get bored, they're going to start throwing gloves at each other, hitting each other, those sorts of things. That's even the high school kids, all right? Just make sure that you're always keeping them moving. Teach them to attack the baseball. You know, I heard this last night. I got a kid that plays at Louisiana Tech, real good pitcher. Just beat Texas A&M the other night. I listened to his coach because my guy pitches to contact. He's not overpowering at that level. The guy made a great line to call it. He said, to be good, we have to dominate the average play. Okay. It used to be the routine play, the average play. It makes or breaks baseball games. But you don't prepare kids to make the average play, the routine play, unless you work on it every day. So we probably try, when we're able to outside, we want to try to make sure that our kids can get 100 ground balls a day. 100 ground balls a day, 100 swings, a couple hundred swings a day, a couple hundred fly balls if we can, and we're done with everything in less than 2 hours all the time. I'm not a big believer in practices that are longer than 2 hours, because our kids, and I taught psychology for a long time, our kids lose focus, okay? For the younger kids, they're going to start losing focus after an hour, if you're lucky. If you're lucky, okay? Some will lose focus in 5 minutes, okay, if we're lucky, okay? So keep them on their toes and constantly give them something to think about. Outfielders, you can put them in all kinds of different drills that you can look up and so forth. We do what's called a football drill where we line a kid, we put a line of kids on one side, we have them run down and track the ball as it's being thrown to them. We'll come back and make a throw to the coach. We put a ton of balls on the ground in our outfield to our outfielders because the majority of balls that come their way are on the ground. Okay? But again, we got to be careful with how much they throw. Okay? Especially in the outfield. A lot of your kids, you're going to think, all right, he just pitched today, I'm going to put him in the outfield. He'll be all right out there. It's the longest throw you can make. Okay? So be careful with that. But keep them moving, have fun with it. Kids love fielding, but they get frustrated when they don't have success. Well, we probably, our goal this week was being outside, but we could get each kid about 500 ground balls. I think we did it, which means that hopefully next week, when it's 30 degrees, we're just hoping we get out 20, 30-minute intervals and get ground balls. Because we play on Monday. And it's to our advantage to be outside, so we teach our kids that suck it up for 30 minutes. I'm not telling you to tell your kids that, but the high school kids, we know we got it, okay? Any questions? Yes, sir?
Can you talk a little, you were mentioning about hopping off the bus only in a couple minutes. Can you talk to us about what we can do to be productive reading?
Yeah, I mean, usually you probably have about half an hour, 25 minutes, somewhere in that neighborhood. I mean, we got to get them down the line, we got to get them thrown, we got to get them for reasonably stretched. I mean, 6, 7-year-olds are usually pretty limber, they don't need a ton of stretching. All right, the seniors in high school need some stretching, okay? Get them moving, get them playing catch like the progression that you talked about with throwing, okay? You can get that done in about 10 minutes with young guys. And then what I would do is 2 things. One, I would hit them some fly balls, I'd hit them some ground balls and do a little bit of breakdown work. Or what I would do is I get these soft baseballs. You can do it in 2 things. You got 15 minutes, you can do 7 minutes of each. I can say I can ground balls to one group, 6 kids, or fly balls, and I can get 7 minutes of swings with those soft balls. And with another station, you got 2 coaches. Say, hey, coach, you're going to go deep in the center field. I'm going to have you go out there with these balls. Each kid gets 7 swings. It moves. We switch, we rotate, we're in play. So it all comes together in an ideal world. I mean, there you got the bus driver that just can't get you there on time, and you're just throwing, and you know, that's a nice thing. I always get early dismissal. So, yeah, while we drive ourselves. So, yeah, but you know, the bottom line is you're always in a jam. And the other thing too is not every kid's going to come on time for you guys. So you just incorporate them as they come. All right, you know, and do the best you can.
That's like in your catch play, why you incorporate those fielding drills. Like with our little guys last year, we incorporated where we put the ball on the ground, so part of the catch play was free, get up there, freeze, get through and throw it. So you're kind of getting some grounders in between while you're doing your catch play, and then maybe hit some pop-ups later on. But you incorporate some of those drills into your catch play, and maybe that kind of takes its place a little bit.
Don't forget, while you're working your infielders, the best of your ability to put the ball up in the air to them too. Okay, they need to be working on communication and working with your outfitters about how you're talking about how you're calling for baseballs, whether it's I got it, or it's mine, or it's me, or ball. Make sure you're talking about that because that's how people get hurt. Those are nasty when outfielders and infielders collide. Or first baseman and catchers collide, or third baseman and catchers collide, because it happens. Okay, so make sure you talk about it. We try to hit, I mean, we probably hit 75 to 100 fly balls to every kid this week. The infielders included. They said, Coach, why are you so good at hitting these pop-ups to the infielders? I said, I was really good as a player. I was really good at hitting second base as a player. I hit a whole bucket and I got one out, and yep, this brings back memories. So, any other questions? Thank you.
These baseballs that they keep referencing are called soft hit baseballs. It's softhitsports.com for these. And there's also a heck of a video out there, if you guys haven't seen it, where Ron Washington speaks about fielding. And it was from actually Atlanta Braves broadcast. I think it's maybe like a 15-minute video of how he breaks down fielding and how he teaches the pros. And would you
You gotta go to like a YouTube or look for Twitter, it's hashtag Friday Fielders. There's like 5 or 6 of these guys. They do a really phenomenal job about approaching hops and everything. It's just really, really well done for all ages. Yeah, it's hashtag Friday Fielders. He's in it, Kai Correa, who's now the infielding director for the Indians. Just a bunch of guys. And at the coaches conference, those guys, their booth is packed. They've got like a little side session for infield and you can't get near it. So they're infield nerds and it's some interesting stuff.
And this is the part where if anybody has any questions for our coaches, now would be the time to ask.
Yes, sir.
When you were saying limited some of their throwing, for 7th and 8th graders, what would you, like during practices, not having throwing so much, what would you say on average would have them throwing, you know?
Well, it's going to depend on each kid. It's going to depend on whether they pitch as well. It's going to depend on how much they came in throwing before they came to play. So you can go full go a couple of days a week with kids throwing on the infield and the outfield. I just, like, we protect our pitchers a little bit because we got to play an 11-week season where we need guys to play multiple positions and be able to pitch. So we'll DH our kids a lot after they throw if we can. You know, not baby them because I don't believe in that, but at the same time, it is a lot. I mean, I was on the fortunate enough to be on the Illinois High School advisory board for baseball for the last few years. So I was on that pitch committee selection thing that put that thing together. I'm not totally agreeing with everything that's in there, but we have to follow the rules of what our federation and what we put together was. And believe me, I'm not one on babying arms at all, but as being tough and as being responsible. So you can see it, and we just encourage our kids to be honest with us. We put a kid on the mound for an inter squad yesterday, and after 3 pitches, he didn't say anything, but you could tell he had nothing behind the ball. So we went and got him and said, look, man, you already made the team. You don't need to be a hero, all right? And they said,
We're fortunate enough, too, that we can do a lot of prehab. We both have access to ice. There's a trainer on staff. So we're lucky enough, we do a ton of prehab stuff with our kids. So we'll do, you know, our big focus in our shop is we ice, we take care of it before it's sore. And so when it gets sore, if you're waiting to take care of yourself when you're sore, it's probably too late. But we try to throw every day if we can, and we do take it back just because outside changes. I mean, we had our tryout day Monday was inside, and it's so loud, kids are firing it, it looks like they're throwing 100. We go out the next 2 days, and by that Thursday, we have an entire practice, we don't throw it all. So just because it's so early, and luckily enough the weather was bad enough, so we're back inside, we made a hitting day, but we didn't have many guys who could throw. So we just kind of, you listen to the kids. I don't like to baby the arms, but they're not major leaguers. This is not their profession. So sometimes kids are coming, I've got some basketball kids who are still playing right now, are going to come right to me, and they're not going to be in the shape to, their arms aren't going to be in that shape. And sometimes you just got to say, I've got a young coach, who both these guys coached, he would throw every day, including Sundays if he could. Sometimes I got to override and say, listen, today's going to be a hitting day. It's like, no, we only have 2 sore arms, well, we're okay today. We don't play today. If we give them a day off, at least I know they're doing this day off. I don't have to worry about it. So we try to do that a little bit.
I always say that unless there's some sort of circumstance that goes beyond our control, like availability of something, we hit every day. There's never a day where we don't hit. That's a philosophy of mine. We very rarely ever not hit. And maybe the cage isn't available, but we work on things because that's never going to hurt a kid to hit. It's never going to hurt us to work on it. Okay? But throwing, especially with young kids, we got to be careful because sometimes the length of those throws, you know, from the outfield or so forth, you know, you put the kids out deep left field because, you know, you can mash them out there as a coach. That's awesome, you know. But then you're having them throw it back 300 feet, you know. Hit it to them, make them chase it all over the place. That'd be fun, you know. But at the same time, Give them a bucket out there to dump it in right after they've caught it, and it'll make life easier for you, because you don't have to chase them and then throw them all over the park.
And you just rotate buckets.
Yeah.
Your bucket empties, you go to the full bucket.
Yeah.
So they still do their work. They're gonna come through the ball, like Coach said, they're gonna get their comment started, they're gonna arm break, and then they go and they put it in the bucket.
I mean, you watch the guys in spring training, they're simulating faking throws all the time. So they're hitting ground balls to the infielders, and they're here, or they're at 50% throwing. They're nice and easy because they're not gonna make 1,000 throws a day. They're not ready to. That takes the big leaguers 6 weeks to get ready. They'd say it'd probably take 4, but they, you know.
Just an article this weekend about the pitchers who aren't signed, most of them believe they have to sign this week, because with 4 weeks left, that they probably won't have their arm in shape to open, and those are major leaguers. So 3.5, 4 weeks to get yourself ready to throw.
Sounds like a negotiating effort.
I'm sure it is, I'm sure it is.
By the owners. No, again, thanks for the opportunity. You got any other questions? Yes, sir.
One of the things I had the hardest time with is teaching outfielders tracking. The catching they understand, but I have not run across a drill or a method yet that has taught a kid to successfully track.
Like track to on an angle to where the ball's gonna be.
Tracking fly balls in the outfield.
We do a lot of cone work, so we'll set up cones, so we'll start at a cone, and they're gonna go to that cone. So they're gonna stay, they're ready, they're gonna open up the right hip. We do this with our little guys, and I'm gonna throw the ball, but I'm gonna make it go to this cone, so that they're running and they're kind of tracking, and they know they're getting the cone, and it kind of helps them. So they don't have to, they're not blindly tracking it, they know it's gonna get there, but they're running while they're moving. And I feel like that helps, and we still do that with our older guys too. Right, we have a little pop-up machine. We'll throw that in there, and it puts it in the same spot every single time. But the idea is just to make them run while they're tracking. So they know it's only going there. That's all I have to go. Open my hip, I'm going. It's that idea if my eyes are moving and I'm running, I'm moving. Kind of helps us get that idea behind it.
We do.
Can I say something real quick too? Check where their mouths are, and I'm being serious, because when you're running and your teeth are together, your eyes are bouncing. And if you open it up just a little bit, it steadies. It steadies and it lets you track better.
Sometimes kids will run on their heels too. So that's going to make the earth spin when you're running. So you want to stay on the balls of your feet and, you know, be athletic. So when you're working on running with kids, you talk about that all the time. But we use our football drill all the time with that. So like I'm like the quarterback here, and I've got a wide receiver there, and he's basically running a post pattern, and I'm putting it up there for him as a fly ball. He's got to go track it. I'm always going to have to put it out where he's just going to reach and grab it. I'm going to put it up in the air for a little bit, and then he's going to have to get back underneath it and come and make a throw. Okay? Or with kids that really kind of take you off throughout the day, you can take them this way, this way, this way, so you get them all over the place. Okay? But we do it also on both sides, so I can be running this way, track the ball, I'm always coming back to the infield with it. We teach our outfielders to get rid of the ball as fast as they can to the infield. As fast as they can. Okay? We want to have good throws, but we want the ball back in our infielders' hands as fast as we can. Again, these are just things that we've picked up over the years. I mean, I tell you that baseball coaches are the biggest plagiarist thieves around. Okay? We've gotten it from other people at clinics. I mean, back when there were more bookstores, I used to go to Barnes & Noble all the time, buy all the baseball books and so forth, that all the drills to the American Baseball Coaches Association. Stolen a lot of stuff from there too. So 16 years now, I mean, I've taken everything I have from somebody else and then put your own spin on it. You know what I mean? And I've got, we've got kids that play for us and kids that coach with us. They're coaching in different places now, and I'm fortunate. I have 5 former players, 5 former coaches that are head coaches at different schools now. They're stealing what we did and so forth, and I pick up things from them that they learn from other people.
Sometimes they come back from their school, and they'll come and coach is lucky enough, a lot of kids have coached them. My kids will come back and coach, and they'll be like, hey, this is what we did. We did this drill. Remember that drill we used to do in high school? Well, it's similar. We did this, and now it kind of like adds a little fresh.
Whatever they did with their colleges or the universities, they bring it back to the table too. And look, nobody says that you have to do one thing or the other. You might find a few things today that are good, a few things you say that's not real practical for our kids. That's okay, because we do the same when we go hear other people talk too. So, I mean, if there's any questions, you can always email me at school, contact me. It's right on our website and so forth, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. You know, if even, you know, I'm sure Coach wouldn't mind, or I don't mind. I'm a little farther out, but we can probably let you come watch a little bit of this practice one day. You know,
It's all
you know. So,
Thanks, Ron. It's open. I'm out there.
you know what I mean? You know,
Yeah.
I promise the language will probably a little cleaner at your place than mine being practicing in public school. But you know, the bottom line is,
Yeah.
take what you can take. all right? Take what you can take and learn from it. We haven't figured everything out ourselves. There's the thing, I know more than I did when I started when I was 23, I know that, okay? But I plan to do this for a long time, so I'm hoping 10 years from now I got more than what I got now because it's evolved and changed, right? The way we learned when we were kids is slightly different, very different than what kids are learning today.
I don't think kids just play as much on their own like when we were growing up. Now everything's so structured, so organized, there's these mini robots. I remember we would play Live League, and sometimes you bat left and sometimes you bat right, and you just go out there and play to have fun. And sometimes when kids are doing those things, they're just letting it rip, and they don't worry about what my average is or how am I fielding it. They play it a little bit easier. So unfortunately now we're getting kids who don't do that as much as we did.
There's no game on the iPad for that.
Yeah, so they don't do it as much. So you're kind of, you're teaching a little bit of everything. So, and I really appreciate it. I grew up through the Villa Park League. The story. I played here. My family played through Villa Park. So it's important for me. I think it's a great league. It's done a lot for me, and I know the time that you guys take. I grew up. My father started and ran the Villa Park League football. So he was away a lot, and all the time that you guys volunteer. Your sons or daughters may not say thank you now, but later on in life, they'll understand all the things you do. Even to this day, when I hear somebody yell, Coach Wisner, I don't think they're talking to me. I look to see where my dad's at. Because that's who Coach Wisner is in town. And, I think that's really neat, the time that you guys give to all the other kids in town is amazing, and I really, really appreciate it.
Any other questions?
Thanks for your time, guys.
Thank you guys for your time today, for coming out, and everybody got something out of it today.